one-of-a-kind combination of bold, vibrant art, warm waters, and extraordinary trails. It's what I like to call my art venturist side. This is my Miami. What's yours?
Hi, everybody. Look at me in technology. I'm trying to figure it all out as we go along. Thank you for joining us today. It is Just Talking Business, and I am Stephanie Van Bart, a small business owner. Today, we are going to have an exciting guest. She is both a doctor and a coach. We were just having that conversation, so I might call her doctor, but she's a coach also. And her area of expertise is the love and dating business, which I think is just one of those very interesting industries also. It's a service industry. And so she's here to tell us how she's been able to thrive and survive in that business. Hello, Dr. Cass. Is it Cass, right?
Hey, so thank you for having me, Stephanie. Coach Cass is fine. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. We appreciate you so much. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so hey y'all, I'm Coach Cass, America's go-to love doctor. I specifically work with successful single women that have everything but a man.
And are there a lot of those out there?
There are many. There are 119 million single people in our country, So I work with a select few of women that have decided, you know what, Coach Cass, I need help. This is really frustrating. My mama didn't teach it to me. I don't understand. I read my Bible, but there's no when to text there and what to wear. So how do I really do this thing and honor who I am and how I show up? And so that's where I step in the gap and help her through that. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because very briefly, one of the jobs one of the services we provided was wedding planning. It was difficult because you are definitely dealing with a young group of folks who have a specific, they have an expectation. This is the day of their lives. This is what they've dreamed of since they were 2. And so there's a lot of expectation. So I can only imagine trying to find the man to get to the aisle is just insane. So I say I'm a client, I come to you. How are you able, what's your strategy of working with a client and most importantly, managing expectations?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? So I am a certified matchmaker, but I got out of matchmaking because what I found is that when someone hands you $25,000, which is what the average matchmaker costs, to find your Idris Elba with the washboard abs, with the no herpes, no baby mama drama. It's not that simple to go find this unicorn of an individual who's also 6'17".
Right. Right.
So sad for the short men, Stephanie. Anyway, so when someone comes to me as a coaching client, right, it usually is a place where she's like, Coach Cass, I am absolutely frustrated. She's either been thinking about dating, maybe she's divorced, widowed, and never been married. She's like thinking about dating. How do I do this? Right. Or maybe she's dating and she's like, who do I choose here? Or maybe she's almost or in a relationship wondering, is he really the one? So it's 3 different stages of woman that I work with. And so really I delve into who she is. Okay. What has she been through? What are some of those relationship patterns? Because you don't see the picture when you're in the frame, right, Stephanie? Right. So it's just like, okay, is something wrong with me? That's usually what the question is. Yes, absolutely. Tell me what is wrong, right? Like she's getting married. Why am I still single, right? And it's a frustrating thing because, like you said, there's women that have been planning their wedding since they were teens, right? Since they were 6. The little dolls thinking about who to marry. My daughter's 6 years old. She is talking about her husband right now. And I'm like, yo, hold on, right? But then we have to be careful of that because I'm Jamaican and my mother always told me, study a book, right? So hold on. But that hold on was like, wait a second, hold on. How come I haven't met anybody yet? You know what I mean?
So I maneuver this later on.
Right. And so many women come with their biological clocks and wondering if they should freeze their eggs. I actually have someone that ended up having a baby on her own. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a lot, for you to want to have your own family. And if you have your own family, you want to have someone to share it with, or maybe you're building a business and have no one. You're like, dang, it would be nice to rub my feet. So we go through a whole process of what I call the wanted woman formula. looking at the clarity piece. How do we get clear on what it is that you want? Because so many times we really don't know.
Right.
And then when we come over, we say, okay, well, where's the confidence? What I find a lot, Stephanie, is that these women, professional women, have the confidence when it comes to their business and all the things. But when it comes to love, that confidence, where'd it go?
Right.
What happened to it? And so then when they get that confidence, how do we not get too cocky in our communication? Right? So how do we communicate with men in a way that they lean in and they listen and not tune us out?
Right.
The next is, how do we connect with men before we sleep with them? Literally. Like, how do we connect with them emotionally before connecting with them physically? Because too often, even in this day and age, 30, 40, 50, 60, you'd be surprised how many women are still sleeping with a guy thinking that'll keep him around. It's just like, no.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, sis. So really coming to a place of how to reorganize and rewrite your love story. And we do this in community. So I have an entire community where I support women in their love journey, because I've realized through many one-on-ones that many thought they were going crazy. Like, I feel like I'm the only one like that's going through this. No, no, you're not. You're not. So we do it in community. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that. There has been a audience, you and I talked about this. There's been a group of us in an age range that were not taught how to date or how to really look for the right man. Yeah. So are you finding that to be a generational thing, or just a cultural thing, or just how mothers are mothering?
Listen, this is how mothers are mothering. You know, at the end of the day, now we say silly things like, I just want to keep my daughter off the pole, right? But before, it's like, I was trying not to get my baby pregnant, you know? So we don't talk about that because it's like, you might get pregnant if we talk about it, right? Like, that's really been that's been the conversations from way back when, right? My most mature client is 73. My youngest client, I want to say, is 28, right? My average client is around 45, 50, right? So when we talk about how people are learning about love, it's really through ear hustling, right? Like, oh, what happened? Oh, maybe I'll try that. Or no, I can't try that. You know, that's where we're learning it. Or we're watching romantic comedies. I feel like it's an epidemic where women are suffering from rom-com-itis, right? So this rom-com-itis is, you've been watching this romantic comedy and then you get this special feeling that this wonderful man is going to treat you really bad at first, but then he's going to sweep you off your feet.
Right. Take you to Never Never Land.
This is not it, right? This is not it. And studies show that, you know, after you watch a romantic comedy, it actually skews your brain and your thoughts about love. So we have to be very careful of what we take in and where we're at. Like, even social media.
Right.
Yes, you're excited about all the weddings and all the babies and all the engagements, but after a while, if you start saying, well, what about me? And you start feeling bad and depressed and not yourself, like, turn off the things, right? Like, mute the people. You're happy for them, put the happy text, but then mute them for a minute, right? Like, they're not gonna know, right? So you have to be able to protect your mind and protect your heart in this process.
Yeah. So, you know, during COVID, I thought it was it's sort of an interesting phenomenon that was happening, where people were using social media and these media platforms to quote unquote date and to meet people and to, you know, we'll eat dinner together over our cell phone kind of thing. I thought that was creative. I thought it was definitely, but do you think that was helpful? Do you think there was really real connection there? And are people finding real connection through technology?
Listen, I had 2 brides during the pandemic.
Really?
And I believe so, because you had to get intentional about your connection. Mm-hmm. Before, you just meet up in person, and then if there's a sexual connection, more than likely you headed back to the house. And I'm like, stop that, right? You just know this person, you don't know their last name. What is this? Right? And so it's like teens dating. You're 52.
You're 50, right?
Yeah, exactly. Stop this. So I understand a woman got needs, but stop it. So what we saw is that you had to become creative. You had to think. You had to converse. You had to have conversations. So it wasn't just the entertainment of what's out there. It's like, no, we were intentionally getting to know each other. So I still like a Zoom date before getting together in person, because what I deal with a lot, right, Stephanie, is busy women. Right. So for me to go put on all of my stuff in my undergarments, right? And
Set
my
it all up. And the armor, face armor.
set it up, right? It's different from the nip to the
Right,
hip,
right, right.
right. So it's I'm looking good here. You don't know what's going on down here, right? But
You
for
won't
me to
find
leave
that
the
out
house,
till later.
for me to leave the house, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. So instead, can we get on FaceTime? Can we get on Zoom? Let me see if there's a connection. Do you have a yak mouth? Do I even like your face? Right. So if I don't like your face on Zoom, more than likely I'm not going to like it in person. So let's go ahead, call a spade, and you have a good one. Right. So it's also getting to be honest, because you're not going to risk your life. Right. Before it was like you didn't want to risk your life.
Right.
You didn't want to risk your life meeting anybody. So then you were also very particular of who you would allow to take you on a date. So I think the pandemic taught us some good things. Now, if those lessons kept going, that's a whole nother story.
Now, so we have a lot of people watching. Thank y'all guys for tuning in. I've been feeling is because some people want to get
Drop a hello down below, y'all. Where are you tuning in from?
Yes, let us know and ask any questions. We got her here, so ask her any question. I know this is a business show, but if you want to ask about your dating life, so now, who do you consider your competition, and how do you combat against that? Or
so in terms of competition, I feel like I've created my own space, right? So it's a whole movement. Best-selling author, right? Wanted woman. I believe every woman is wanted woman, achieving new triumphs every day. And I believe that your client, and this is for all my business owner, your ideal client will hear your voice, right? So recently I was on a podcast and over 79,000 people saw this podcast episode. But then that's not irregular for these podcast hosts. And they have a different relationship expert on every other day.
Right.
Yet I have women signing up for my live event coming up, right? I have women signing up for my program. I have women buying my book and my love deck because they hear my voice, right? When someone is your assignment, there's no wondering, right? I'm pretty sure, Stephanie, there's some experts, business experts that you listen to on social media, and there's some that you're like,
right. That's
and others you tune in. They could be saying the same thing that the other person was saying, but guess what? The sound of their voice annoys you.
Connects,
The intricacies of their lipstick annoy you. So for me, I don't really believe that it's competition. I believe there's some really great people out there in line with me that are doing amazing things. And for me, it's like, keep going, because I can't serve everyone. You see that? Right?
That's true. You cannot.
I cannot.
So how do you reach your target?
So most of the things that I do in terms of now I would say that I pull all levers, right, Stephanie? So for instance, for this live event, so I'm doing a live event called Wanted Woman Live, right? So specifically an in-person event in South Florida to get women together, to get poured into around how to attract, vet, and marry, right? October 6th through the 8th. I have been on television in Atlanta, California, Chicago, South Florida. I've been on at least 8 podcasts. I have run Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I have asked JV partners to send out emails. I have asked friends to tell a friend. I have called people personally. I have shown up to live events to tell people about it. I've shown up to house parties to tell people about it. Listen to me. When folks out here are telling me that they can't sell their widget, and I asked them, what have they done? And they said, well, I made this one post in this one group, and then waiting for the millions to just drop in. I'm going to tell you right now, like, that's not enough. Right?
Yeah. And you got to go through different avenues, not just one social media.
Every avenue. Because what I know is that there's going to be someone that sees the replay or the after photos or the after video, and you're like, why didn't I know about this?
Right. Exactly. I agree.
Right. And that's on me. How many times have we seen something and we're like, oh, why didn't no one tell me about this event? I should have been there. Right. That's my kind of thing. Right. So for me, I pull all the levers. I do challenges. I do webinars. I do all
the things. And is this your first time doing the event?
This event is my first time doing this event. It's my
Yay.
first live event since the pandemic.
So is
Yes.
it going well so far in terms of your RSVPs? I'm sorry.
So far it's going well, but we're not at max capacity yet, right? So here's the thing. If I'm going to be giving the information, I want to give it to as many people as possible, right? I'm not trying to cut it off and be like, oh no, you can't come. No. Let's get you in the room because I'm sharing it anyway, right? Because when planning events, so for my business owner, when planning events, usually the hotel will say, well, how many people do you have now? They want you to cut the okay, this is the amount. But you know what I did? I fluffed the amount because
Right.
you know what? I'm gonna get more people between now and then.
Right.
And that's what it is, right? So that's what I decided to do because more people can fit in the room. There's more people that want to be blessed. So I just had 2 people registered today. So it's just like, okay, like let's get this thing going. This VIP is about to be sold out because we only feeding a certain amount of people, right? So and that's what it is. We're creating an intimate experience for our VIP. But general admission, we have about 17 tickets left, right? That's where we're
good.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like that's a really nice, you're in a really nice place because I believe from between now and then you can hit 17 people.
Right, exactly. So if y'all know somebody,
All right. Sign up today. We'll tell you where to go and live it. That's why I believe people tuning in. They're waiting for you to tell them where to go. I believe it. So I was doing a little research. Love dating, matchmaking, all of it. It makes in the billions. And so that really lets you know this is an area that is very important to a global audience, not just a few folks. Was that something that was happening before the pandemic, or is this a new wave of people just really trying to find their mate?
Listen, it's so amazing. I became a coach in 2004, right? Okay. 2004. Well, let me tell you my story. Once upon a time, I was dating a guy I thought was the one.
Okay.
And we were having a grand time, Stephanie. We were traveling the world, building business together. I just knew that he was the one for me. And one Christmas Eve, I got a call from a mutual friend. He said, "Hey, are you sitting?" I said, "Merry Christmas." He's like, "Yeah, that's not why I'm calling." What's going on? He's married.
Are you serious?
Girl. So my heart,
my face. All right, I'll get it together.
My heart shattered into a million pieces. And I was in such a dark place. And I was just like, something's got to give. I kept dating the wrong guy after the wrong guy after the wrong. You ever dated the wrong person after the wrong?
Yeah. And it's like it gets into your cycle.
Yes. And it wasn't releasing. So my defining moment came when I got maybe my 29th wedding invitation. You ever felt like everybody was getting married?
And having children and all your dreams.
All the things, girl.
I am not buying another bridal dress. I'm not.
That part. So I decided, you know what? Lottie Dottie and everybody's getting married. I need to do something different. So I drew a line in the sand, but I drew it behind me because I said, I'm not going back. I didn't want to turn into a pillar of salt. If you know, you know. And then instead, I was going to focus on the future. So I started to read every book I could on love. I went to marriage conferences as a single woman. I interviewed successful women who are successful in business and in love. And I even was like, you know what? I need my own personal coaching therapy, all of it. So this long process led me to this amazing man named Andy Henriquez. And we have a beautiful family, right? Have a beautiful baby girl. And what I realized is the amount of times I could have settled. How many of us know somebody that is settling in like a situationship and a thing? I was like, oh my goodness, that could have been me. So what I realized is so many professional women are either so focused on career like I was. My mom told me study a book, right? Right? So focused on career, cousins, crew. They're the glue that's holding the family together. So they're like, love will come, but when?
Right.
And then
what is it supposed to look like, and what am I supposed to be looking for? Right.
On the other side is the woman that's praying in her back closet for this Boaz, high value man, this amazing man to come through her door. But she knows she would mace him if he did. She don't even open the door for the Amazon Prime guy. So who and how are we doing this? So that's literally how I formed my Real Love Network, the community where I support women. So now when it comes to how popular what I do is, I really think that the pandemic made it popular because people started to shift and realize that work wasn't everything.
Right. I agree.
That the meaning of life is not working. They started to realize that, wow, I am alone, right? Like there is no one here. And even for people who have people that live in their house, it wasn't the same. It made them to start to prioritize, like maybe I should pay attention to this love stuff because my job right now is not keeping me safe.
Satisfied. Yeah.
In my heart, right. Satisfied and loved, right? So that's really how I was, girl, Clubhouse, right? So Clubhouse was, yes. I used to fall asleep on Clubhouse. Clubhouse, everybody was an expert in love. Your plumber, the garbage man, the real estate broker, like everybody was a love coach. You couldn't say that the hairstylist, now maybe the hairstylist, but it's just like the hairstylist, the optician, the dentist, everybody was a love coach on Clubhouse. And so I had to step out the room because too often, Clubhouse, you'd go into a room and start listening, and then you'd like, oh, this is some trash. This girl is crying. The man is saying garbage. I don't have time for this. So then you'd leave, but then people would actually follow you into the room, and I'd get messages. Coach Cass, why'd you lead me into this crazy person's room? I'm like, I led you. What? So then, that made me stop listening in to people's conversations in the Clubhouse because I was like, I don't need you following me to go down the path of whatever they're trying to tell you.
But to your point, though, that is I would imagine one of your Achilles heels is with what you do. People think they can do it too. And, I've been married a long time and I'm blessed. I have the best husband in the world, but I don't think I can advise anybody really on marriage. You've studied this. You've gone through years of really understanding what the needs are. Mm-hmm. How are you able to combat that sometimes or not even worry about it?
I don't worry about it. I don't. Once again, who hears my voice will hear my voice, because if I worry about and I'm not going to name the names, right? Because that's one of the things people be like, well, why don't you talk about this guy? The one that died and all the things and what he did and the people following him. I said, listen, I'm not giving him any more press, no more play, none of that. So I see the people in the foolishness, but I don't need to have conversation about it. I don't need to compare myself to it because who's attracted to them? Let me tell you something, right, Stephanie? I'm creating an event. It's a smaller scale event to pour into business professional women. And many women are flying in from all over the country. I just had someone book from California yesterday who's still flying in. So people are still getting their tickets to come to this event. I went to a 2-hour thing in Miami. And this person is in my space. I was like, let me buy a ticket. There were 2,000 people at this event. I said, now what in the what? My husband was like, oh, was that inspiring for you? I said, well, let me see first. Let me see first. So then I went with my girlfriend, we get in and sat down. And the first question, Stephanie, was like, ladies, how can a man get his stuff sucked?
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. My face keeps.
I was like, is that the question? Was that the question? That's the question in this. So when I say we are not the same.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
I am not the same. Right. So there's a certain level of couth and there's a certain conversation. And that is not the conversations. Like, it's important in relationship to understand your sexuality and how you connect and all that stuff. We have a sexologist licensed and trained in our program, right? So I believe that pleasure is important, but the way in which we have public conversations, like that,
that's not what we're here for. That's not what you're
doing. That's not what's going to keep you married. Like, yes, it's a benefit. That's not supposed to keep your man, you know, because
Right.
anybody could do that. So it's just like when I start to look at what other people are doing and the rave and the droves of people following them, I say, you know what? I'm gonna lead in my way, in my time, the way that resonates with me. And those who are called to me in my purpose will come. And those who don't, okay. Right.
Right.
All
Now,
right.
you deal with a client, and quite frankly, you kind of, if you are successful at what you do, you kind of put yourself out of business with that client. Or do you continue to have conversations with them and draw them back in and provide them services after they're married?
So you know, it's hard for me, right, Stephanie? That's exactly it, right? I'm like, where are you going? Don't leave me. And then I get, well, Coach Cass, as a married woman, I don't want to hang out with single women anymore. I'm like, all right, hallelujah. So I did think about creating a program for married women, but you know, marriage is a whole different ball game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
Hallelujah. So
Exactly.
what I've done is I will support women from the thought of dating, you know, to healing, to how to choose the right man, to getting in a relationship, to thriving in that relationship, to get to marriage. When they get to marriage, I refer them. So now I have partnered with another company that specifically supports couples in their love journey. They
Okay.
are licensed psychotherapists.
Very nice.
You see what I'm
Very
saying? So then I don't have to take on a whole new business model. So that's for anyone here that is trying to do everything in the continuum of your client. Start to look at who is your client and where do they start? Where's the middle and where's the end? And do you have to service every single part of their journey?
Exactly.
I know some love coaches that only deal with dating,
Okay.
right? It's like, this is how you date.
Right.
That's all they do. You show up like this, you put on this dress, this is the lipstick color. That's what they do, right? Thriving businesses. For me, I want to help you in attracting and keeping. Like, I want you to attract, I want to help you choose, and I want you keep this person and not mess it up and self-sabotage it and kick something good to the curb, right? So I have a little bit more that I want to support you in, right? And then those who deal with the married folk, that's a whole thing.
Another thing.
But I don't have to start a whole nother business. I struggled for at least 5 years in trying to start something for married folk. I have a group of 600 married women that I'm not doing anything with because they were ready. All right, Coach Cass, let's do this thing. But then I wanted my husband to do it with me.
Right.
He didn't want to do it with me.
He didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it. And then I'm like, well, for a robust program, I want to do something for the men and for the women, not just the women. And then I was just like, forget this, right? Like, I don't need to do this. Like, I don't have to be the bridge for every problem when it comes to relationship.
So you pick and choose what your value proposition is and stick in that lane and just add products accordingly.
Right. Attract, vet, marry. Now, once you get married, fly.
Then you go on to the next, you go up to the next level.
That's it.
Do you find in this industry that the majority of your audience or the majority of the people seeking this kind of service are females?
Well, I only deal with women.
Okay.
Right. So when I started out coaching in 2004, the men I would deal with came across very sleazy. Oh yeah, I need coaching. And then all of a sudden we on a semi date. I'm like, wait a second.
That's not what they say.
This is not what I came for. So from that moment, I decided that I was only working with women.
Okay.
Period. Okay. Like that's who I'm called to. I was very uncomfortable. It just wasn't my deal. As a cute woman, I didn't like it.
Let me wait for my Prince Charming and then
exactly. Y'all messing with me.
Strictly business.
Strictly business. So I dealt with the women. So when we talk about pivoting, right? When I first started out in coaching, I was a wellness coach. Did my master's in public health. So I was in wellness coaching. But one of the things I would often get is, are you a nutritionist? Can you be my personal trainer? So it was a lot of confusion of what wellness coaching was and wasn't. It was more of a holistic coach. I said, all right, forget this. So then I went into life coaching. All right. So I was like, oh, this is cool, but then this is very broad. So I decided to do business coaching. I did it with my husband. We would help new business owners kind of start up their stuff. It was like a 6-month program to help them with these modules, walk them through this stuff. And that was cool, but it did not bring me joy. You
Right.
know, I did well in it. I had people quit their 9 to 5s and start their businesses, doing well to this day, all that stuff. But I didn't like it. So I shut everything down and I got still.
And decide and knew where your space
Yeah,
was.
yeah. And so it's just like my magnificent obsession has been love, dating, relationships. You know what I mean? So I went to school, like got the certifications, I got all the things. And since then it's like I haven't ever gotten tired of it, right? Like I can listen to people's problems all day long. And the reason why I say that, Stephanie, is I remember when I was going to get my master's, and I wanted to get my master's in marriage and family therapy, licensed marriage and family therapist. And I remember the dean of the public health school saying to me, he said, "Do you really want to listen to people's problems all day?" And I said, "Oh, I guess not." And that changed the trajectory of my life, even though it still brought me back
To
to
where
being
you're supposed to be
where I should
anyway,
be.
right?
Right. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like we have to be very careful of the conversations that change
Mhm.
our trajectory in business, in love, in life. Most of us can think of that one conversation that changed everything.
Right. I agree. I agree. But I think it's very interesting. And I'm glad you said that within your pivot plan that you had to go through different iterations of what you were trying to get to in order to get to where you are today. I had to do the exact same thing. And I think that's a lot of what business owners have to do. And you can't be afraid to take the leap of faith and really go after what. Because you feel like now that you're in your place and space and your purpose, you are successful in what you're doing and it's satisfying. So
It makes me so happy.
that's good. So tell us a little bit about the book behind you. We want to learn what will we learn when we buy that? Will we get that at the event? And I want to know more about the event itself.
Okay. So, Wanted Woman, the Busy Woman's Guide to Attracting and Choosing a Love That Lasts. So, this is on Amazon. You can also get it on my website, wantedwoman.com. So, literally, it is a reference guide. I wrote it so you could read a chapter that you need at a time, right? So, how to heal and find love after heartbreak, creating your love vision, how to dial into your feminine side, guide to building confidence in dating, and so much more. Get out the house, get in the game, how to choose the right person, right? How to really build a community of love. I have a whole TED talk on that. So really this book is the basis for the live event, right? So I'm going to walk you through the Wanted Woman formula at the live event. And the reason why I chose to do a live event is because there's something different when you're in the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many times have we signed up for an online thing and not really pay attention to it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, I signed up for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch the replay. I'm going to do the things. And then,
Wash your clothes.
right. Let me go cook the dinner. Right. Let me pick up puppies.
I'm listening.
I'm listening. What she said? Oh, that was good. By the time you shut down the things, you don't remember anything.
Right. I agree.
So my whole being for doing this is to, one, bring the community together, two, help women to know that they're not alone and do this in a safe space. Because what I know, right, Stephanie, so often we invest in our businesses, we invest in our cars, we invest in our homes, we invest in so many things. But what about us?
Mm-hmm.
Warren Buffett said that the greatest thing he's ever invested in was the investment in himself. So where are we investing in love?
Right.
One of the most important decisions that we'll ever make outside of following God. So one of the things that I know is that when it comes to business, like, oh, we see the ROI, that
Yes.
money is there. But with love, you're like, all right, deliver the man. Is it?
Just tomorrow, go.
Sprinkle, right? So when it comes to delivering the man, you got to be real careful, right? So you can go outside right now and just find somebody, right?
You can.
Hey, you, okay, right? Like somebody. But I know for the majority of professional women, they want a man on their level.
Mm-hmm.
They want a man that identifies with them. They want a man that celebrates them. They don't have to dim their light, right? I was just talking to a client yesterday that, she felt relieved. She broke up with her man.
Oh.
And I was very proud of her, right? Because she realized, this dude ain't it.
Right. Right.
And the reason why I choose to work with successful single women is because I can help you choose right. This is the grand scope of things, right, Stephanie? I
Mhm.
want to decrease the divorce rate. So I figure if I help you choose right in the first place, we don't have to go down this divorce road,
Right.
which
Right.
so many of us have known or some have been through. So it's just being able to be in a space where you get poured into over 3 days. We get to dance, we get to talk about love, we get to do it in a safe space where we're just supported, right? Something I am 100% sure that your listeners have never been to in their lives. It doesn't exist.
I would agree with that. Maybe I'm just not sure who's watching, but I agree. I think that would be completely different from anything that anyone has ever offered in that space of love. We got love stories, books, the rom coms, like you said, but a place where you can talk honestly about what you're looking for, I think would be definitely different. My last question, and then I will let you go. It is a business question, and I'm not looking for dollars and cents. How do you price? You mentioned when we first started that matchmaking is a $25,000 price tag.
Yeah.
That's a lot, which means you have to be somewhat wealthy for that. But you're doing something a little different. What is your pricing model? You don't have to give me dollars, but what is
Okay.
your pricing model?
So, I have like the do it yourself, right? So that's $1,000, right? So we could do, I'm fine. So do it yourself. Like you could access content and all that stuff,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
then our middle tier is like do it together. Let's work
Okay.
together in this. Let's do this in community, right? So currently, while this is playing, because prices can always increase, it's 3,500, right? Or 397 a month, right? And then with our higher ticket, it's 10 grand, right?
Okay.
And that's
Okay. But much
more
more affordable than
the
right.
hands-on, let's make this happen, right? Like, because what I know is whoever you meet, who do you have in your ear? And more than likely you don't have the right people in your ear. So that's how I see it, right? So Wanted Woman Live is on sale now. And for those who are watching this, they could get 50% off. I forgot to give the website. So it's wantedwomanlive.com. And you could get 50% off with the code ladies.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down because I have your flyer and I'll make sure I
Oh,
share it with everybody.
yeah.
Because I'd love to know if how many people will definitely be able to benefit from this. I would love to see it be highly successful. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I think I've learned a lot. I know there was whole business side, but I'm just intrigued by what you do and how you make it
I
make
think
people.
we still gave some nuggets in there around business, from pivoting to marketing to pricing. We talked some business in there.
But love is always a good topic. Always a great topic. Thank you so much. Please keep us posted as to what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Have
Bye,
a
everyone.
bye bye. Thank you. So, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I learned a lot. I hope you did too. We will have another show next week at 5:30. Thank you for tuning in. And, I hope you will go to the women's event. I feel like you'll learn a lot and you might walk away with at least the good tips and tools to find the love you're looking for. Y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Where's my little outro? Bye.